All right, we are live.
Come on, everybody, and say it again! It's time to kill the Canadians!
Oh, man. The Edge. What a start to the episode. Which is, by the way, episode number 15 of the Furry Raiders podcast. I am Jolt, as always, the chief host. And with me, I am joined by Red. Say hi.
That is me.
And today we've been joined by three first-timers on the show. And we'll introduce them one by one, and you just probably pop up a fun fact about yourself. Wolf.
Of course, me first. Well, I'm just your typical backwoods hillbilly, I guess. Growing up on the farm. I enjoy hiking, camping, and all things country.
All right. Sounds like a fun life. Next up, RC.
What's up? It is RC. I'm RC Apologist, your typical Christian bro who has very interesting views as well as managing to bomb up your internet because I'm just that bizarre and crazy. Why? First, for hanging out with him for another. But enough about me. Who's next?
And last of all, oh, good. This last guy has to unmute his mic. And oh, great. Zelox, are you there? Come introduce yourself and tell us all a fun fact about yourself. Well, so much for that.
Oh, not entirely. I just came back.
Yay.
I
Introduce
am
yourself, if you will.
Zelox Quo, or Master Zelox from YouTube and Twitter. Recently permanently banned from Fur Affinity for guilt by association, and I am not actually a furry raider, more of an independent contractor.
That's fun to have you on the show.
That's interesting.
Okay, no, not a big problem. So far, what we have for this week stumbled upon the greatest salt mine throughout all the weeks, and I guess to kind of begin the show on this note, Zelox, you were there on an interview on a comedy show with Steven Crowder, correct?
Yes, indeed. I managed to be the first furry interviewed by Steven Crowder on Louder with Crowder.
Woo!
Well, how did that? What prompted you to do this, though?
The far-left furries continually going to the media to get their side of the story out prompted me to do the same.
All right, because yeah, I just thought because Dogpatch bragged about getting on BuzzFeed, and then you kind of needed something to give the groups a PR boost. Sure.
Well, it's more not give the group a PR boost, it's to get legitimate information out. As most people would know, BuzzFeed is not the most reputable source of news.
Tell me about it. But hey, I mean, at least I got the chance to listen to the whole thing, and I'm quite glad too that Steven Crowder did give you a fair hearing.
He is extremely personable. There was a short bit of time before and after the interview, and I can understand why people continually go back.
He's a nice guy.
To anyone who is listening, if you wanted to see the full interview early, you could have joined Mug Club, because it was one of the non-Thursday shows, which means Mug Club exclusive.
I was only able to get halfway through before my phone lost internet connection, and that was the last of that.
Unfortunately, it was primarily a what are furries and introducing furries to his viewer base. However, it did lightly touch on several of the issues going on in furry at the moment. What is fascinating to me is that no one is talking about it. Traditionally, if furries ever got on any form of media, even local newspapers, it was a topic of interest for the subculture as a whole. This one, though, everyone seems to be treating it with a bit of a 10-foot pole and not mentioning my name at all.
Yeah, I
I
can
saw-
honestly say. Oh, sorry.
Go
I can
for it.
honestly say about the fandom in a whole, it's just starting to die inside. I watch and look over social media all the time, and I just see it start to die. I mean, I live out here and grew up in a small town, and being a furry, I was the only one there, which was hilarious because everyone thought I was just weird. Now I get to the big old city in Tennessee, and well, then I suddenly find that I actually am surrounded with a bunch of furs. So I don't know what it is, but just seeing that the fandom's just going in this way in turn just sickens me. Especially with the interview, because I did watch a little bit of it. It was pretty good. You were great. The whole interview was great. To be honest, seeing the fandom like this, it's weird. From when I first started out within it.
It's become super depoliticized, yeah. Then again, while I'm on this kind of topic though, how hilarious though were the reactions to you having a presence on the show? I've got something to share with you first, because I know this is gonna be hilarious. You know what happened? This did. Dio decides to crash our neighbor's chat just to say that, just to say, Crowder laughed at you, and I did too.
Okay.
And then left.
What is
You know-
interesting about that comment to me, he didn't laugh at me specifically or the issues that non-far left authoritarian furries are having at the moment. He laughed a few times at furry as a concept because it is weird, and I would believe that all furries would understand this, and also at the false calls of people in this subculture being Nazis who would be the furthest from being Nazis. So Dio is basically stating that she laughs at furries in that comment, which to me is quite entertaining.
Yeah, I mean, Steven Crowder laughed quite a lot about you guys too. He did find it quite interesting, yeah.
What I find interesting is I thought Dio was just starting to get better, but then, of course, she doesn't get it again. She misinterprets it and gets.
I think she's totally not mad. TM, wouldn't you say? I mean, other than that,
I want to legitimately understand what it's like to be leading that kind of mindset. I find it genuinely fascinating.
yeah.
It isn't all that difficult. You have to believe that you are right in all instances, that no matter what you say, even if a manipulation and a lie is the right thing to do, and that you are doing it to save everyone.
Right, you have to believe you're the main character.
And that your ways and methods will result in saving everyone, yes.
Quotation marks saving. Emphasis on that. Other than that, Zelox, most of the show wasn't like, it was kind of structured as in a what is the furry fandom, what do furries get up to, and is this all about, the fursuits, the whole so on and so on. You were kind of explaining what this whole shindig was about.
Yes, the majority of it was just an introduction to furry.
What is the flag you got in the background anyway?
One I designed a little while ago as I
what
was
does it represent?
contemplating. Oh, just myself. The central part has a ZQ, which is for Zelox Quo. It is green and black and white, because I like those things.
Is it fashioned after anything?
Not particularly. It draws
Okay.
inspiration from a few different flags.
Because if I wasn't going to ask, the chat might have, because, you know, that's how it be.
Yeah. On that note, though, I mean, I do so dig your custom-made costume too, as well.
It is, I believe, entirely unique. You would not see another furry with something like that.
I'm seeing Crowder here. He's very focused and seems legitimately like trying to legitimately understand.
Oh yes, there was. It furry is a very different concept to people who have not been exposed to it before.
Oh yeah, if you let me chime in. Yeah, that was actually really funny. I've actually had a couple experiences when I've came out to friends and coworkers. They were standoffish at first, but then came to me and actually started asking me questions about it and trying to get to learn it. And they turned out to actually enjoy having companies like that, which is really cool.
Mm. Hey, if you guys are here, though, I mean, one thing that Crowder said on the show was how do we help the furry subculture? I can't really figure out how to help. And then and then he kind of cites like Free Tommy Robinson is understandable, but this if you were in Steve in Crowder's shoes, how would you, after hearing all of this, like essentially, Zelox?
Sorry, I lost connection for a moment there.
Ah, shoot.
I
How did you
would
find out
say
when Steven Crowder was trying to figure out how to help you?
Pardon?
When Steven Crowder was trying to help you out, bringing up the whole Free Tommy thing briefly.
Well, I essentially said that getting it out there at all would be assistance.
I just noticed that you have a case study of Deo Test Devil. I'm gonna check that out later.
Yes, a 2-part case study. I unfortunately had to cut hours upon hours of both recorded footage, scripting, and even more from research out of it because it was taking far too long to cover all of the lies and misinformation.
If watching Mahler has taught me anything, is that people love hearing English voices go on for far too long. Trust me, it would have been fine.
Mm-hmm. Were there any other little interesting tidbits kind of on the show? Because we mentioned Furry Raiders once for a short spiel.
I would say that the description of the Furry Raiders and how they are falsely called Nazis was the most humorous aspect to Stephen and the crew. Describing both the Furry Raiders and Foxler and how the fandom treats them did leave them laughing significantly.
Is that what Deo interpreted as him laughing at you?
We may never know. Context is gone, don't you know?
Yeah, but context fucking matters, mate.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it was kind of a maze too. Like all the same, Crowder wanted you back on, right? He would love to have you back on, and
he did say that, yes. However, I'm unsure as to when that would be or what kind of topic it would be.
Always a good opportunity, eh?
Absolutely, and if things degrade further in the subculture, it would definitely be worth it, I'd say.
Oh, for sure. But other than that, though, like you've seen it all around, though. Good grief, the Twitter salt mines extended a lot more than just Dio as well. You've actually got people like saying, of all the things that they were kind of happy that you were on the show instead of our usual suspects, Boxler and who instead. Or in fact, they were even spurging out that you even got a platform at all.
Yes, however, there has not been much talk after I didn't completely bomb in the interview. I believe if I had completely failed and made an utter fool of myself in the position, then it would be talked about significantly, but as I didn't completely ruin everything, no one is talking.
Okay, that's great. Anyway, we'll kind of open the lines a little bit by shifting to our next topic, and that is basically the namesake of our video: studio mandated heterosexual dragons.
Oh god.
Oh, is this about How to Train Your Dragon 2 or
I'll
3?
bring that up right about now. The third How to Train Your Dragon. Matter of fact.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert, I've seen none of them.
So people are upset that Toothless's life mate, that the Toothless's mate is going to be female. People also seem to forget the fact that Toothless is the last of his kind. People seem to forget that in order to reproduce, you need to have sex with a female. Gay dragons don't make babies.
It's less about that and more about about the prospect virtue signaling. Why must I want Toothless to be gay just because?
The
Yeah,
majority of all creatures are heterosexual. The minority are homosexual and other. But you have to realize this isn't necessarily state-mandated heterosexuality. This is studio-mandated incest. Because
As
if they
you-
are the last of their kind, their children will be the only of their kind, and guess what? They'll either have to breed with each other or their parents.
Well, let's not think about that. That's fan fiction territory right
it's
there.
kind of a far-reaching can of worms, I'll say.
Oh,
But
as soon as you get down to two of a species, the species is doomed due to genetic defects and genetic diseases which will come up by the second generation or so. It will die out. They will not be able to have anything past their own children that will be effective, essentially.
But
yeah,
we'll kind of
let's,
skip on the technicalities a touch.
let's just kind of dance on eggshells here.
Yeah, something that what's so bad is that tweet, who's ready for studio mandated heterosexual dragons, it's deleted and nobody put archive it so I could read the takes there.
She does know that Toothless is feral, right? As in, not a person or.
He's not anthropomorphic in the sense of like having a true-blooded talking animal per se.
Oh,
He's
he
an
is
animal.
slightly anthropomorphic, having the kind of personality that he has, being more sentient and cognizant.
Yes, but he's still an animal.
Oh yes, absolutely.
Like you basically a pet dog, only with and more.
A very
And we've,
smart pet dog with wings.
Yes, but he'll still bonk a female if she's in heat.
Oh, and speaking of which, though, you guys did you guys manage to see the new the trailer for How to Train Your Dragon #3 that just
I
popped
haven't
out?
actually.
Oh yeah, they confirmed it. The show flat out confirmed it.
Toothless is gonna bang him. Or bang
The
her.
girl.
I corrected myself. Toothless is gonna bang the white chick.
Whoa. Ratings, please, mister. Slow down.
Okay, he's gonna boink the blank scaled dragon,
What?
the bleach scaled dragon.
Oh, dude, everybody was making Blue Eyes Stingers references everywhere, man.
You
Not
know
that
that.
Yu-Gi-Oh card, but yes.
Okay,
Well,
all right,
I won't,
fine.
I won't think of it, but yeah, it's a girl, and look at this.
People are upset that a male dragon in a kids movie, which is the last of its kind, is going to be in a hetero relationship. All right, I was reading that.
Yeah, sorry. Here's back up. If you don't see a
You know-
problem with this culture, you're a problem.
This is
Is
what
what
it
it
looks
looks
like
like.
when you tell people their sex life grants them privileges.
Yes.
I'll pop up the tweet chain again. Sorry about that on the screen share. Yeah. Wow.
I'm pretty
Cult.
sure. I'm pretty sure who you boink isn't anyone's business at any time.
Exactly.
Showing
Unless
gay
you-
relationships is not necessary.
Unless you make it someone's business, I guess.
Oh
Yeah,
my
but, like,
god!
who the fuck cares?
Oh
Um,
yes, and even then, the vast majority of individuals and of animals are heterosexual.
Yeah,
Toothless being both the last of his kind and non-heterosexual would be a rarity among rarities.
and pretty much the final nail in the coffin.
Well, it is the final nail in the coffin, regardless. If there are only two of them, genetic diversity basically states that they're all going to die.
Listen, we're not going to get into that whole mess. Let's pretend that, dragons are exempt from genetic. Let's pretend that dragons are magical and that they also don't exist in real life.
Look.
Fair
like,
enough.
Have you guys got any comments about this freaking salt mine all on its own? Like,
You're trying to tell me Tootlhless is going to have a love interest with the fucking dragon? Why can't a bitch be watch Disney movie that isn't about hetero mate then? Hey, please don't make the dragons hetero. I'm bitter about the new How to Train Your Dragon movie because everyone is correct. That dragon looks terrible. Why did they change her palette so much? Why isn't she vicious and ugly like most of the dragons? Or the same color as Toothless? Why do we need hetero dragons? Okay, is she seriously saying that we need like a fat pride dragon?
No, I believe it was saying that it should look similar to Toothless.
But she does.
However, well, in general body style and design, yes. But in coloration, she is significantly different. My guess is they are playing up the underworld kind of thing, lack of sunlight, all of that, where you get a lot of animals that don't develop significant pigmentation because they don't need it.
As an ornithologist, I will point you towards the kingdom of birds, which are the closest relative of the dinosaurs. The males and the females look vastly different from each other, but are still clearly of the same genus.
Yes, that is also true.
Here's the kind of a picture though, like.
So this is like they look vastly more similar to each other than most males and females of the kind of things that would be their equivalent in real life.
Case in this one, yeah. But I mean, other than everybody ribbing on the white dragon's design, like not being over designed enough, which is
honestly, I'm surprised they're not ripping at her being white.
Actually, I'll get to that in a second.
I believe many people have.
Oh boy,
I'll get to that in a second. Like of the dragon herself just being white, there was people ragging on about it too, because they do not know when to stop.
Headache.
Oh yeah, it happened. It happened. I've got this to share with you, and you get to. All right, and here it is. The cancer that says that people are complaining about the white dragon for being white.
Toothless was independent and fine for 2 films, and now they're giving him a love interest who exudes white feminism. I'm sure. Why is it white feminism? What is up with that? I like because you know what that is, right? That is feminism that isn't the right type of feminism, so it's called white feminism.
Oh well.
It's called not the real feminist kind. It's white feminism. That's what it is.
It's either way. It's just another one of those, crazy hot takes just because the guy is still.
Oh, you're not a
God.
real feminist. You're not one of us. You're a white feminist. Really?
Oh, let's
I
not
thought
bring
this
in the
was
race
just getting
cut
into the
too.
furry fandom when it comes to these divisions of real furries or not. Now it's gone to feminism. Holy crap.
It's absolutely gobsmacking donkey dick.
Yeah.
I
Welcome
wouldn't agree with
to
those choice of words,
ideological
but yeah.
purity tests.
Guys, I
18.
study birdies. This is not that big of a deal.
Oh,
I-
go on.
I do find it entertaining, though, that no one of the other mindset has spoken up because it does seem to match the white genocide comments with the black man mating with a white female.
You see,
Oh,
here's the reason why. Because I didn't think about that. Because I'm not a troglodyte.
Oh, I know. No one, I believe, has made that comparison yet. However, it's just as valid as this flawed comparison by King Progressive.
oh yeah. Not to mention too. Look at the bottom line. Cooked up a dragon of color. What does that make Toothless?
I'm sorry. Are you aware that dragons can be any color, given that they are like birds, come in all colors of the rainbow mostly in order to impress mates and females. That's usually how that kind of thing goes. But we saw red dragons, green dragons, blue dragons, red and green dragons, dragons with polka dots.
Oh, and let's not forget that somebody brought this up with said also, just because a dragon's yellow, does that make them Asian at all?
But
Christ almighty.
the reason that Toothless isn't boinking any of them is because they're a different genus from him. He can only mate with another Night Fury.
While we're on that kind of note too, well, on the colored note too, when are they going to ascribe a race to Toothless and his girlfriend?
They're Night Furies. That is what they are.
Not that, the human equivalents, because based on color.
That doesn't work like that in the animal kingdom. It hurts.
It
Wait till
does.
make it work.
Trying to draw parallels between dragons and humans is exceedingly flawed.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, actually, here's another little salt mine for you to dig up too, because oh yeah, people still.
I'm honestly so salty at the fact that a gosh darned animated dragon gets to PDA his stupid dragon girlfriend, but movies with gay couples still remove PDA scenes with them, or it just never happens. Juan Carlos says touche.
Look at this, man. This is just the epitome of salt over straightness.
What the absolute... Oh my goodness. Also, hey, you girl Iron, nice fucking K-pop background, by the way.
So many of these individuals keep falling into Poe's law for me that I'm unsure as to if they're trolling or if they're legitimate, because the views are so extreme that I would believe them to be a parody.
I think they've just kind of lost it. Half and half is either they've lost it or they're just not being. They've lost it and they're being serious.
It's not a big deal. It's just a movie.
And it's featuring dragons who don't deserve to be politicized, full stop.
Yes, but you have to realize everything is political nowadays.
And that infuriates me to no end.
It's because as soon as you have that political ideology, you have to insert it into everything. Because it is what you are.
If people put their political identities into their identities, and they get to flaunt that and make sure that it is infesting everything, then by goodness, I do not want to have any part of that, because it is absolutely, positively a bad idea all around. All it is going to do is create more fire. And because they exist on a black versus white basis, then they think they are the demons. They must be destroyed because I'm correct. I am the symbol of pure, unadulterated goodness, and therefore I must win. It is not about me being right. It's about me winning. I have to destroy them because they are wrong, and because if I do not put my politics into everything, then how could they know? How can people know what I'm all about? It's not like they could just go to any of the actual places where politics are actually like viable and then find out. No, I have to infect everything with it. I'm sorry, I rambled there.
That's all right. You are accurate in your assessment.
It's kind of the namesake of this show as well, where we ramble on and on. But just to wrap this up a little bit, though, I will say that, especially after this salt mine and after watching the trailer, bring the movie on. Looking forward to it.
I just pulled up the trailer while you were talking about it, and it looks really fun. It looks like a fun ride. I'm looking forward to it.
How to Train Your Dragon is traditionally a bit of a fun ride. But, Red, going back to your comment of before of inserting politics into everything just brings fire and makes it all kind of break apart, that's the point. You can watch an interview with an ex-KGB agent from 1985 where he speaks on the 4 aspects of what the communist regimes had started to push into Western countries, and this is exactly it. It's a part of destabilization before crisis.
And I hate that. I beyond hate that.
But no matter. I mean, I'm just happy this movie is going to go into a great direction, especially with what they're trying to introduce now, and Tootlhless trying to get a date.
I'm just glad to get to see more Tootlhless. That little fuzzball is great, and I'm glad that I got tied over with I said too much. Anyway.
I think that's kind of going to be a wrap right about now for that topic. So let's move on the next item, which is the absolute state of Star Wars.
Is there going to be the absolute state of X in every Raiders Rambles now?
Can
we make that a segment? Because the past 3 Raiders Rambles, we've had the absolute state of England, the absolute state of Australia. It's kind of a trend.
It's kind of more of a Twitter meme than anything else, if I'm really brutally honest, though. But we'll just focus on Solo and a few other thingos and what direction it's heading into. Because look at this. Let me just preface this that I, Joel, personally have no love for Star Wars. And to see it in this miserable state that it's in makes me jump for joy.
Okay. As someone who's lukewarm about the series, pun not intended, I gotta say I'm a little bit disappointed because for how much the prequels are getting shit for, people are just starting to realize now that at the very least they did what every movie should do, and it's be creative and bring something new to the table. And if it's a part of a series, make sure that it ties together to the rest of the series rather nicely. And that they did. And with these new movies, I'm not seeing that. And that's my main. I don't care about like raise a woman. What? No, this isn't with the Force or whatever. No, what I care about is that a movie is trying. Like a movie is being creative. If I'm not seeing the creativity here, because especially here, Solo is a very limiting movie. There's not much you could have done because he already gave his life story in the original trilogy. So they had to bullshit some places. They were very limited in what they could do, and in essence, what you're just doing is watching a visualization of the stories that Han Solo has told in the original trilogy. Therefore, I'm just disappointed that apologize That one snuck up on me. I'm just what was the word I was using? Disappointed that the direction that they're headed is make small stories based on things we already know. Because in order to squeeze money, we have to milk this cash cow out of everything that it's worth. Instead of trying to tell new stories in a setting that a lot of people love, they just retell things that we already know. You're seeing my point here?
Yeah, I think as well. Like people have, if you read that article there, like they're basically Star Wars is burning out, like from especially from the last couple of movies too.
There are people who have made their entire lives based on Star Wars. People whose jobs are based on Star Wars. People whose hobbies are based on Star Wars. People who live and breathe Star Wars. I'm not one of them,
Yes,
but I can understand why they would want something new, something grand. Why they want their universe to be expanded, and they're not getting that.
and I don't think they're just getting that. Instead, we're basically getting people, characters who basically virtue signal their preferences again and again, and you've got the whole, the bullshit Lando thingo, just because.
There was also a feminist robot,
Ugh.
or robot lives matter rather.
Yeah, that thing really kind of aggravated me when I went to the theaters when it first came out. Was that scene where it was pretty much like you're enjoying a good time. It's like when you go out and you have all your friends, except you have that one friend that likes to start things in like random opportunities whenever like food or something gets brought up. It's like, why don't they have something for people of my kind or anything like that? It's just like that cringing moment when you're trying to relax, have a good time, and then all of a sudden this person kind of interjects. It was very unsettling, and I won't. No, I'm just gonna shut my mouth before I end up saying some spoilers for those who haven't seen the movie.
It's fine.
Though
I mean,
will I spoil something by paraphrasing or quoting what is essentially like something that is not of note, something that isn't impacting the plot any way?
yeah. Also,
Yeah, exactly.
Is it spoilers when I quote a part of the movie that doesn't impact the plot? Because I really want to
Well, I
preface
don't think
this.
I don't think that's what I'm referring to. I'm referring to something that happened to the robot
Yeah, no. Okay, so
that I was glad for.
so I want you to realize this, Jolt.
yeah.
When Lando Calrissian, right?
Yeah.
Went back from the cockpit and is like, all right, I'm gonna go to bed. Do you want anything? And without a second thought, she just said equal rights.
Oh, out of nowhere, just that. That
Yep.
basically is a huge turn off right there. Yeah.
I think that's part of it. Like it started to get into a political type of pushing, and it's not so much focused on story. I enjoyed Solo, but I can picture why some people would not be so satisfied or wanting to see it afterwards, or continuously go back and see it like some of the other films. Considering that, so I think that's partly a reason where this whole thing is starting to go the
Detroit
direction.
Become Human was more subtle than this, for fuck's sake.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I also was kind of surprised about too. Not really. Was the box office figures for Solo? Is that it flunked out in its first week?
Oh yeah, Deadpool 2 was beating it by its third week.
Oh yeah. Not to mention too that this has been an ongoing trend because you've also seen that The Last Jedi was heading downhill too in terms of its box office figures, and it's not meeting its projections. So what does that tell you about the current the current health of Star Wars really?
I'll tell you what they're going to do. They're going to drop it.
Sooner better, I suppose.
It's essentially saying that injecting identity politics into everything doesn't often work for the general population.
What?
What's it called? I'm going to screen share
Sad but
something.
true. That is true.
Yeah. I'm going to screen share something kind of hot too. While we've shifted onto identity politics. Star Wars author Chuck Wendig breaks down after calling Star Wars fans white supremacists.
Look at that profile picture.
Dude, I am a soy Viking. Fear my axe.
Why does he
Jesus.
It would be more appropriate if he was in a soy field rather than some trees.
Why? Dude, come on. You're just digging your grave even deeper and deeper. I did not realize that was his profile picture.
The takes in this too. Look at how far this guy's derangement syndrome has fallen. Blaming all the evil groups behind all of this.
I want to say one thing and one thing only because I've said it before and I'll say it again. With people like him, a person is always a racist and a sexist and a homophobe and a transphobe and an MRA. It's never just one thing. It just always has to be the full package, the whole Infinity Gauntlet.
It's a real reputation raiser, I'll say that.
Oh, I know, because advocating for men's rights is horrendous.
Oh, and not to mention that you basically are, a potential mass shooter. Ooh, incel.
And still less of a potential than Islam.
Well, I mean, you gotta flip it back
Bro.
and see the guy, yeah. But
I mean-
I digress.
And I know that's right, but from the guy that knocked me to the ground earlier this week.
Yeah, that's a whole other story that you kind of told me, and that's honestly that could have been said off the air. But
I'm not gonna do it.
we've got people who are just kind of melting down to that extent too. How does somebody who not like? How does an author not like his own loathe his fan base this much to call them all white supremacists?
Again, welcome to Identity Politics 101.
Where
It
it
hurts.
kills the
Much
fan
of this seems to be similar topics, just kind of observing the effects of identity politics and saying, hey, isn't this silly?
Mhm. This is why I'm glad I don't have to deal with much of this in the anime fandom.
Yes,
anime
the
is
anime
healthy.
fandom is relatively separate to a lot of this currently.
Currently,
The only thing we really got close was like when Hetalia showed up, and you had, of course, it's a World War II setting thing. When they have Germany on there, guess what? That's supposed to be a freaking Nazi stereotype with the yellow hair and the blue eyes and all that. And then they had to censor when they translated it into American English, where he says, "What is it? Another Jew?" They had to censor the word Jew like it was a bad word.
and people
Because I guess
romanticize the hell out of
gas
Germany there.
generations. Yeah, but that was only a small portion that were like getting this upset about it. Everyone else is like, oh, look, you have Germany cosplayers at these conventions, yaoi armbands that look like the whole Nazi, and also, I guess in this case, furry raiders symbol armband thing. So, but no one really complains about it as much. And those who did, they get their voices drowned out because they're a minority and are just trying to ruin people's days. And by the end of the day, they get slammed.
I was at
And
a
that's
convention.
why I'm glad to be an anime nerd.
A few weeks ago, I was at an anime convention. I was wearing my Raiders armband. You know how many people complained?
Zero.
Zero.
See, we're more accepting and tolerant compared to some of the guys in the furries, especially
Same could
them
be said for my
far
pony too.
leftists.
But yeah,
Oh, don't forget, if you wear an armband, you're apparently an alt-right hate group which has neo-fascists and other hate group ideological views.
Don't tell the
According
first
to
with
Fair
the straight
Affinity,
armor.
that is.
don't tell them that. Yeah, I mean, I'm still happy at least anime is still relatively in a kind of a healthy shape enough as it is there, and you still get
Hey, sad part is that I don't even have it for Affinity anymore.
I don't
I
blame
lost
you.
interest in that like about
I don't blame you.
8
I mean-
years.
I mean, the way they're going, people are going to lose interest and just up and jettison the site. But something big has got to happen for them to do it. Though, sad reality.
I
and-
don't
enjoying
believe
things.
that'll happen.
Yeah.
Can we just go back to enjoying
Yeah.
things and having a good time and expressing our creativity and not our ideology?
Yes, that
Yeah,
would be wonderful. That would be what I want.
That would be a great world to
um,
live in, wouldn't it?
I've got one last thing about this whole Star Wars thing, which you may find interesting too, which is unrelated to the movies. J.J. Abrams, who directed The Force Awakens, has now production company Bad Robot now has a games division.
Oh boy, Juju Banks is making games.
Yeah,
Well, this
mean,
start to be
this-
fun.
I don't know.
Sarcastic
It's-
laugh.
Dude, I mean, this was the guy who basically admitted, I think, if I remember correctly, to putting racially diverse characters in The Force Awakens for his own purposes. Well, to push an agenda more rather, but I digress. And I mean, all the comments here are just basically ribbing at J.J. Abrams' antics as a film director and trying to see how they're going to translate it over to games. Like, can you make a game just out of lens flare though?
Can you make a game where people scream at each other obnoxiously and then say a bunch of words that nobody knows?
Huh, sounds like my Sims to me.
Honestly, I'd rather have a Sims movie adaptation than that.
I mean,
Right.
you know, with the way that Abrams is thinking, I don't really have full faith in the games that he's going to produce. And he even says, like, in his own "How do you do, fellow gamers" moments, "I'm a massive games fan," he says.
Game. All right.
Yeah.
He
Us
has played all
gamers.
kinds of games, including Monopoly.
Yeah, I've played the Mario Karts. My son is really into them.
Well,
This is the
I
funny
mean,
part. Is those are all funny jokes.
I've helped
I mean,
Zelda save Hyrule.
aptly so, because I mean, I don't. Hey, on that question though. Do you actually see hope for the Star Wars games if Abrams in charge?
Okay, let me tell you something. When
The
his Star
gameplay's
Trek
good.
movie
I
came
don't
out,
care.
when his Star Trek movie came out, there was a tying game. That tying game, actual garbage. I just hope I can never hope for games to be bad. I want everything to be good because the more good things we have, the less bad things we have, and the more we can enjoy ourselves. I want Bad Robot games to succeed. I really do. I want them to make great quality games. But I can't just be hopeful like that.
Yeah. Yes. And while we're on the topic of games, we'll kind of just wrap up the what's it called? We'll wrap up the Star Wars topic and move on to the games topic, and how Steam basically just made a decision, and there is so much fire being flung around.
What's going on, Jolt?
Well, Steam had to make another blog post regarding who gets to be on the Steam store. Everyone, and now they basically had to make clarifications on what isn't allowed, and they basically just put it down to you can't allow troll games, and we can't allow anything that's super illegal.
They also can't allow the things that are not really games. So we're referring to stuff like Heavy Rain, which are just movies with some QuickTime events.
But that's blame it on Sony though. Steam's never gonna get that. But yeah, I see what you're getting at. Oh, and for context though, this came some time ago when Steam was starting to pull lewd anime games off the shop front.
Aw, but I wanted to masturbate.
Seriously though, on the Twitter takes though, who comes up with hashtags like waifu holocaust?
Waifu Holo. That sounds like someone's great username on Team Fortress 2.
I swear, if that's coming from any of our anime people, we won't hesitate to kick them out. We'll start the division just because of that. Terrible hashtags.
Like weebs, man. I digress though. It's just I don't know what was going on through Steam's mind at the time that they had to pull that, and then I think people also, when they did that, they were threatening to take their business elsewhere to another games distributor. So, make it for what it's worth, but that's just what's happened. But something, I will say this though. Steam's decision to basically be more open about what games they allow is in and of itself, I'd say, a good thing.
Oopsie days.
What do you guys think?
I would say that this is the correct decision for them, that they have outright stated that games, so long as they are not illegal and do not contain illegal content, will be hosted, because it's a game hosting platform. It should host games and then allow the users to decide what they purchase and what they want and don't want.
You know what, Steam, you're all right.
Yeah, let everyone vote with their wallets and vote with their words. Allow things to exist so long as they aren't illegal and aren't in breach of any of the various rules and harassment and things. And I think that this is absolutely fantastic.
Wonderful job, Steam.
Indeed, yeah. And something else, and then we've got to move on to this bit known as the salt mine, because people are never going to be satisfied with Steam. Oh yeah.
All right, what we got?
What have we got?
Yeah, what have we got?
I'll replace that link again, and here we go. Read the tweet.
Let's see here. Oh, okay. Just to show you even more how out of touch game journals are, it's all about Steam's excellent decision keeps flowing. Game industry best. Valve's new content policy is a gutless attempt to dodge responsibility. Companies' willingness to profit by selling racist, sexist, misogynistic game. Again, it's the full package. Speak volumes about its values.
Good impression.
It's not Steam's job to police what it just provides files. Steam just provides files. It makes a modicum of the money.
Yeah, and on the note, they're just trying to police what Steam does. Like, they think they can just muscle in and tell Steam they can do a better job than them.
Ooh.
Like, I mean,
whoa! All right,
he's up there.
Pablo is sharing some fire information here.
It's
Pardons on that, guy.
Can you extend what Pablo shared there?
It's just a lot of articles from every single game journalist website saying, Steam. Dude, this is just
for Steam is a triumph of cowardice.
This is just projection, don't you think?
Oh, absolutely. This appears to be almost a Mark II Gamergate kind of concept of something happens in games, and then all of the media has a narrative that they need to push rather than the reality of the situation.
The strawman has grown so large it has become the 17th Colossus. Go find Wander and slay that motherfucker.
Oh, and on that note too, I kind of find it rich that they accuse Steam of having no personal responsibility. Well, and all I'm going to say is, look at the mirror. She is, man. Oh, and yeah, like I said, Steam also did. They rolled back. They rolled back all this content, and then everybody also, got up in arms. Oh, and that was pretty much
Valve rolls back crackdown against sexual content on Steam, and here we see Honeypop. Valve's crackdown on sexual content in games on Steam has been averted, at least temporarily. In fact, it may not have been intended in the first place. The day after the surprise announcement came to light, Valve apologized for the confusion and told HuniDev and others to disregard the email about their games violating Steam's guidelines on pornographic content. It just occurs to me, Jolt, that some listeners are listening to the audio podcast and thus are not seeing your screen share.
We know. That's not really released yet, but yeah, we gotta work our way around that. But again, that was basically when I saw the hashtag waifu holocaust and
Hashtag waifu holocaust update. I have just received word from Valve apologizing for the email. All right.
yeah,
For the
that's
confusion.
that. It's I mean,
Waifu holocaust.
you can't get over that name. Really, I can't.
It is a cool name though for like someone's username on any given thing.
It's like it just reminds me of this whole,
If it hasn't been taken yet, I'm going to make that my new username.
I mean, I can't
Oh,
exactly
dear.
imagine the prospect of throwing, your anime waifus into a gas chamber.
Yes, but waifu holocaust just sounds so cool.
There's not really much of a problem. I mean, they'll go in and then we just make up some more.
Yeah.
I mean,
There's
anime.
waifus.
I mean, if I may be so direct, anime titties are a dime a dozen.
Anime titties are also,
Yeah.
So I mean,
That's very true.
having them galore, it's like yeah, we can sacrifice a few. We still got a few.
Basically, it's this. Start with the flat-chested ones first, and then there won't be too much of a problem.
Oh no, my Kanata Izumi! I don't want my Kanata Izumi to die.
I don't know how this goes on in the anime convention space, but because I've had no experience myself with it, but I mean, you'd imagine that you're bringing that up. Oh, and on a little bit of on a side topic too, like the only game that kind of got seriously pulled down was Active Shooter.
That was a school shooter simulator.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm glad that got taken down.
Like, I mean,
Somewhat, yeah, I am too.
say what you will about the
There's-
whole one, but
There's only one thing I can really see that game would be in a good usage of, and that would be in a simulation type of series for, like, say, training people to deal with these situations. Like sometimes the military uses they use Call of Duty sometimes in terms of like using from what I've heard, like a system that operates like moving
I
and
hear
all
they
that,
use armor.
as well as aiming. So it's not just you're holding a controller; you're having all that, making it more realistic type of things. And I think a similar thing can happen with this thing, where you get like, I guess, the chief or something to play the shooter, and then you have a bunch of the cadets or whatnot that are training up for this as the officers have to go in and take care of the shooter. I think that would be the only beneficial thing. But yeah, I mean, as far as like a general game, there is a way I can imagine that'd be a bad idea.
Yeah.
Even then, if people want that kind of a game, Postal does exist.
Postal does
Yeah,
still
Postal
exist. So do a lot of games.
Not only that,
even-
there was a
If you want to go cause havoc, there's always GTA San Andreas.
or 5 for that matter.
True.
there was another game besides
Or
Postal,
PUBG.
Nah, it's some.
Saints Row 1 and 2.
and
Yes.
then 3.
Grab a dick bat and just slap people. That shit's
The-
funny.
The
But there was another game
design
though that
and
got into
build.
controversy though. There was a game that basically you played the role of a serial killer. You just hated the world, and the first mission is you walking out of your house, and it just tells you kill everyone on sight, and you're just killing a bunch of innocent civilians, and that's the goal of the game, is kill as much people.
That game got pulled off of Steam.
I don't believe it did. It only temporarily got pulled, didn't it?
I think it was mostly like the servers in different countries.
Gee whiz. Game.
Gotta say though, maybe crack the hell up from just how edgy the main character was.
Oh yes, they designed him to be a stereotype.
He has surpassed Shadow the Hedgehog and approached Infinite the Jackal.
Yeah.
But this game, the school shooter game, it didn't appear to be made all that well, and the concept was quite obviously timed to gain attention.
Thank you very much there, Edward.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Infinite
while
Hedgehog,
we're
by the way,
kind of wrapping
Infinite
wrapping
Jackal,
this
totally
up, how do you guys think that this whole week has been, though? Like, in terms of what happened, propped up in the news cycle and so on?
The whole week's been pretty good to me. I can't wait for tomorrow night, though, because Bethesda will be finally releasing the more information on their new and latest Fallout game.
Yes.
Woohoo! I can't wait, because it will be a very new generation of Fallout game, because this will be before, from what I have heard from all other different kinds of gamers, it is going to be based in West Virginia before the creator in California. This will be about 25 years after the bombs have dropped. So you're going to be fresh out of the vault, and you're going to be probably the first people out of the vault to touch the scorched earth, if there is scorched earth, because some people are saying that it's going to be a part where it is untouched by the bomb, which makes me even excited to hear that, because, well, it gives you a new playthrough. And some people are actually also thinking of it being maybe just like Elder Scrolls Online, and it be multiplayer.
You know, at the rate we're going, we'll just have to wait and see what they prop up at E3 and what happens in the news ahead.
I know, right?
We'll kind of wrap this up. But before I do, I think there's a bit of salt that's worth sharing around with you just before I give you your closing thoughts on what's happened this episode. Well, who would have thought crashing a convention board would get you a lot of salt?
Hey, Den Furco, I need to express a concern. I just joined the official Telegram chat for Den Fur, and I just saw Foxler, founder of the Furry Raiders, in there. The Furry Raiders are direct part of the alt furry and Nazi fur. Please do something about this.
Oh
Thanks, what's it to you? You really cracked it down.
That is extremely flawed.
That is also incorrect.
It's incorrect in almost. Well, I suppose they did see Foxler, but other than that, it would be everything else would be wrong.
You know, I've seen what's it to you on Twitter that one time. I hear she's part of ISIS.
The edge, man. The edge. What? You know that sense of word, though. Just the mere fact of being there just drives them into a panic.
The need to grab and associate different groups with each other and ideological views is extremely frustrating. It would be similar to an outside person saying, "Oh, look, what's it to you? You're a furry, aren't you? There have been furries arrested for pedophilia. You're a pedophile."
Yada yada yada.
Yeah.
It just goes on.
Yeah, that's a similar thing that I heard is like a freaking what's his name? Y'all remember that Steven Anderson guy that made news for saying kill gays?
Yeah.
Yeah, his whole logic was behind that. He was thanking God for the Pulse nightclub shooting, saying that all gays are a bunch of pedophiles because, well, some are pedophiles, therefore all gays are pedophiles. It's like the same kind of logic there.
Things are looking grim for What's It To Ya?
Yeah.
What's it to you?
Yeah, the missus who, yeah.
I
We'll
was,
never
I was scrolling around and then I barely got to see the name that was mentioned there. But yeah,
These people just don't look at the big picture, do they? No. Anyway, we'll kind of
Remember.
understand some of these people these days.
Yeah.
To all of these people, everything is political, and it will always be.
They just
That's the world nowadays, sadly.
too nearsighted though. Other than that though, let's kind of close this up. We'll give you guys just to say a little kind of a closing statement, or one at a time, especially about how this, this news cycle been and so on. What's on your mind, Red?
Broken, all the oppressed groups shall prosper, especially the most oppressed group of all, gamers.
Super enlightening. Wolf, got a closing statement?
Well, really, all I gotta say to anyone is, well, don't let the hard times of life get you down. Just keep positive and keep on trucking.
Yeah.
All right.
If I may actually say what I wanted to say, because I was just beaming there. Remember, guys, to be excellent to each other. That's all I gotta say.
All right.
Just don't be dicks to each other. That's very easy to do.
True.
All right. Next up, RC.
Mhm.
Anything to add?
Yes, my fellow Americans, and possibly other future terrorists, I would just like to say one thing. Be excellent, be awesome, love each other. Be like the anime fandom, love each other, be peaceful, and most of all, respect yourself and your neighbor. Also, Red is my husbando, Wolf is awesome, and Master Zelox is senpai. That is all. Good night, American News.
It had to be someone's husbando.
It's nothing's really kind of off limits. We're just fine if you've done it right. And last of all, Zelox, if you're here.
Yes, indeed. Thank you all very much for having me on this little show. I would like to say that a lot of the topics we have touched on have been dealing with and about ideological conditioning and views. And one thing is true in the subculture of furry: if you don't want the gatekeeping and hate to continue, you have to support the voices who are speaking up against it. And to do so means participating in the conversation in various manners, be it retweeting, having a conversation, liking comments, things like that. If you engage and you support those voices who are speaking out against the hate and ideological extremism, it should get more reasonableness within the fandom, hopefully.
I sure am glad that Zelox got to talk last. I couldn't top that.
Yeah, I still couldn't top how you got onto Crowder just to get everyone aware of the situation. But I believe.
Well, if more people watch me and like, comment, subscribe, and all of that on YouTube, Twitter, and all of that, it will assist me getting my voice out there, and who knows, more interviews might come from it.
I mean, there's no thing as a shameless plug. We just have that.
All right.
Anyway,
SoundCloud.com/StarWeirdo. Just check it out right now.
all right. That's all the time we have for this week. I hope you had as much fun listening to this as we had making this episode, and that this new cycle was fun for you. There were a few good surprises too. And with that said, I bid you guys farewell until next time.
An honor. It has always been an honor.